If you tell me any more, you'd have to kill me.
Uh,
I think people disappeared. I'm scared they're gonna do something to me.
You're totally freaking out.
How you look determines who survives. There's only so much room at the top of the food chain.
I was delighted to be able to speak to you about this film. Congratulations, it's so fun.
Thank you.
How did Jack Stanley's script cross your path, and what about it stuck with you? Because I understand it took quite a while to get made, right?
It did, yes. It was in 2018. I was in post-production on the first film I directed, which was a very sort of introverted movie, because I'm quite an introverted person. I was sort of yearning to do something quite different. And honestly, the pitch for this movie didn't sound appealing to me at all. And so I remember sort of picking it up rather reluctantly and then instantly fell in love with it. It reminded me a lot of Death Becomes Her, which is a film that I adore, but also sort of by way of Paul Verhoeven, who is one of my favorite filmmakers, and a filmmaker at the time I was really quite interested in academically. So the kind of combination of these two things was really exciting to me. And it was just very extrovert. It was sort of the opposite of what I'd just done. It felt very much made for an audience. It wasn't particularly intellectual. It was just quite fun. I would say it took a long time to get the film made, but sort of as we kept working on the script and developing it, I was able to sort of just keep inserting more and more things I love and more things I enjoy watching. And then we had this incredible cast come and elevate it beyond my wildest dreams.
Such an incredible cast. What was it like directing such experienced actors, and obviously your peers like Elizabeth?
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, my first movie was all kids, and so it was definitely different, And Kate is an actor that I've admired since I was a young boy. So it was really a privilege to get to work with such amazing people across the entire cast. Really down to the smallest parts. We were able to get sort of dream people to come and play, and we had 25 days to shoot this movie. It was insanely quick.
Wow, yeah.
And not easy. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't a fun, breezy shoot. It was extremely hard. I wish I'd had more time to kind of hang out and have chats with everybody, and but it was really so work oriented and militant, and I'm really just grateful to everybody who showed up and was so professional. And I wish I could have done more hand holding and all of that stuff. But everyone was such a veteran, and thank God, because we couldn't have made this movie if we had anybody who was grumpy.
You mentioned that the shoot was tough. What was it about it that was so tough besides the time crunch?
Time and money. It was, I know everybody complains about time and money, but I would say that we had probably not enough time or money to actually do it. It was sort of one of those things where it's like, either, you sure you want to walk into this fire? It's not because of me, basically, that we got this movie done. It's because of the extraordinary crew. Drew Daniels, my cinematographer, I think is one of the greatest living filmmakers, and I would never have gone through this film without his massive amount of experience and collaboration. Everybody just went above and beyond, and I think it's because everyone thought it was fun. I think that was the one thing that kind of kept us going, is we weren't working on something that was heavy. We were working on something we all thought was hopefully going to be entertaining, and that kind of got us through the rainy days, literally and figuratively.
Well, on that limited budget, you and Drew and your effects team obviously pulled off some great practical effects. Were there any that you thought this might not work?
There was lots of exploration. We ended up we had a practical creature in the film that we weren't actually intending to use as much as we did. That was a bit of an exploration on the go of like, how's this going to work? How are we going to pull this off? And obviously had very limited resources to try and achieve quite ambitious imagery. But we were blessed with an extraordinary build from that team. And so it allowed us to do a lot more than I thought we'd be able to do, honestly. It was really a wild blur. But we got there.
And it was a great result. I loved the references to Samantha's cheesy TV show throughout. What was that? Hannah's Got a Heart. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a guilty pleasure watch that you've returned to over and over again?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Frasier, and Perry Gilpin is in the movie. Actually, she has a cameo in Shell. So that's I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure because it's quite a highbrow show actually, but that's on in the background rather a lot. And ER, I don't know if that's a guilty pleasure, but I'm an ER fanatic. The show's extraordinary.
Sometimes you just need a comfort watch. I go back to Grey's Anatomy quite a lot as well.
Totally, I totally get that.
You've obviously worked on both sides of the camera, Max, but do you have a preference for acting or directing? I know this is really your second film now, isn't it?
Yeah. Do I have a preference for it? No, I don't at all. I would say that directing definitely is more organic to me. I doesn't mean I'm good at it or bad at it. I just think it's something that is more natural to me and my personality. But acting, I've been really enjoying a huge amount, especially recently. I just did a show called Industry in the UK, which was astronomically more challenging than anything I've been asked to do before, and it was just unbelievably rewarding, and has sort of reshaped my energy for acting. And I'm doing a job right now, which I'm really enjoying, and so I'm hoping to keep doing both as long as I can.
Well, you've collaborated with some amazing filmmakers in the past, like, Damien Chazelle and David Fincher and George Clooney. And obviously directing is in your DNA somewhat with your dad. What lessons from being on these sets over time did you sort of carry into your own directing?
You're constantly trying to absorb stuff from these people. I mean, I was extremely inspired by working with all the people you just listed. And I find, honestly, that the more talented people are, the more experienced they are, the more collaborative they are. I've really noticed that the nicer they are, the more relaxed they are. And so those are always the times of things I'm trying to bring to my work is, you want a filmmaker with a clear vision, but I always love to hear ideas. I love to collaborate with people. I love to hear notes. I love screening my movies. I mean, I screen my movies to death. I know there's directors who don't love that process. I'm addicted to it. I love getting feedback and have no interest in getting a pat on the back. I really love hearing all the different ways that people respond to stuff. And that's all really fun to me.
What kind of feedback did you get from screening Shell?
It's a movie that causes all sorts of reactions. I mean, I would say it's a movie that's deeply, deeply embedded in sort of the history of particularly studio movies, and specifically movies of a certain time period, so the late 80s, early 90s. It's incredibly, shamelessly referential film that's almost sort of as much about movies as it is a story itself. And so I found that, this is not a compliment to the film, actually, it's probably criticism of the film, that the more well-versed you are, potentially maybe in more literate you are in that space, the more you get out of it.
Right.
For sure. I would say that there was a correlation between people who are nerdy like me and appreciate the movie, and I think it's slightly more confounding if you don't have those reference points.
Before I let you go, I have to ask, how has it been joining James Gunn's DC universe, and how's Clayface going?
It's a tremendous amount of fun. James Watkins is directing it, who made a movie called Eden Lake, which I absolutely loved when it came out, and so he's been the director I've always wanted to work with. Hossein Amini is doing a rewrite on the script, who I produced his first movie he directed, so we have a long history together, and that's lovely to be collaborating again. Rob Hardy's shooting it. He's a genius. It's a really wonderful group of people. It's very fun.
That's great. If you tell me any more, you'd have to kill me. Thanks, Max. It was really lovely to talk to you.
Thank you for taking the time and staying up so late.